Well, good afternoon, Springfield. It's Gary Bingaman, and I'm here with John Dietrich and also with Marilee Daugherity.
Good afternoon.
Say your last name?
Daugherity.
Daugherity. Well, I'm sorry, Marilee. Marilee Daugherity. Had to do that. Good afternoon. Beautiful day outside.
It is.
Last week we were kind of finishing up the show, and I was really interested in what you were saying about how you get paid. So I'd like to see if we can start the show off tonight with just a few minutes, and we'll talk about this afternoon. Let's talk about the 3 ways you get paid for what you do.
Well, just briefly, I don't want to take a lot of Marilee's time, but when you're looking at financial advisors, they get paid. And believe me, there's a whole group of people who can call themselves financial advisors. But it boils down to 3 ways they can get paid. They can get paid by commission only. Okay, so that means that you don't pay them. They get paid by the mutual fund company or the annuity company, whatever product they sell, that's how they get paid. Or fee-based. Now this one can be confusing because fee-based sounds a lot like fee-only, but fee-based, what they do is they'll charge you they'll charge you to build a financial plan for you. They'll look at your portfolio, they'll build a plan, they'll get all that done, and then they'll also sell you products and make a commission on what they sell. Okay?
So they also have set fees for what they're doing?
Well, they're usually not set fees, but when you build a plan for somebody, and if you need that, I can do that as well. We're talking about planning for events that might happen in the future. And again, I might recommend to people to buy life insurance. I might recommend them to go to Marilee here to look at how much they're paying for their insurance for property and casualty as well. But I'm not going to sell those products. Okay? So, but some financial advisors do, so they'll get paid to give you advice that you need those products, and then they get paid again to sell those products. Okay, so that's fee-based, all right? And then there's what RIA firms do, like Douglas Bagwell and Company, where I work. Okay? And we are fee only, okay? And that means that the only money coming into me, the only way I get paid is the fees that I charge my clients. Now, the most important distinction there is basically the legal status that we have. As fee only, that makes me a fiduciary financial advisor. That means I am held to the highest standard of care when it comes to making decisions, because I'm making decisions for my clients, what to buy, what to sell down the line. So I'm held to an extremely high fiduciary standard. I have to be able to document the planning process, document the decision-making process, and not make investments that don't fit their needs and their risk tolerance.
Okay, you use this word fiduciary. I looked it up, and maybe I'm not off base, but you can help us out. Basically, doesn't that say that you have to put your customer's interest to profit above anything that you would make?
Right, and that's true, and that's kind of why we don't get paid commissions. Okay, and that's because different financial products, annuities, you get paid maybe a much higher commission than you get paid for mutual funds. Okay, so that might give somebody, and I hope that people are doing a good job and they're fair, but at the end of the day, if your paycheck or your bonus depends on selling one more product, that might be what you recommend. And so we just remove all of that influence. I won't even go out to lunch with a wholesaler selling those products to tell me about them and let them pay, because I don't want any undue influence. The only influence I have is what is in the best interest of my clients.
That's exciting when I hear you put it that way, just to hear someone say that. I mean, in our business, plumbing, heating, and air, we feel like we do that all the time. You know what I'm saying? There's no commission made on what we do. We just go out and do it. But I can understand in a field like yours, that could be a big difference.
Yeah, well, and just to be clear, I used to work at companies and I'd get paid in commissions, okay? So I'm not bashing the other two fields. I'm just saying that you should know that they have a suitability standard. They have to show that what they sell you is suitable, okay? I have to do what's in your best interest, and there's a difference. But, you know, when we're talking about like life insurance, you know, there's no way to buy that except to buy it from somebody who charges a commission. And that's the way the industry works. And so what's important there, and that's why I work with professionals like Marilee, because it's important to work with a person that's going to put your interest first. Because legally they don't have to, but there are a lot of good people out there who will. And so I just want to make that clear. To me, in the selling stocks, bonds, and financial services, I think it's important to be a fiduciary, but it's in other areas, of course, you know, people working at stores get paid commission, cars, they get paid a commission. That doesn't make them bad people. So you just want to make sure you choose a professional that's going to put your interest first, regardless of what the law dictates they have to do. And then there's organizations that also monitor.
That oversee and
So
look at those.
you want to look for people that are members and things like that. So.
Okay. And I will go in for just a couple of minutes and we'll talk about A&D Mechanical Services. We're your full service company. And our phone number is 417-866-8257. And what I want to do is tell you, you know, there are ways. Do you do anything at your house, John, or do you do anything at your house to do your own repairs?
Well, my wife has been bugging me to change the furnace filter, and I need to do that this weekend.
Yeah, you definitely need to do it. You know, just a little skim on your furnace filter can affect your efficiency greatly. Marilee, do you do anything at home towards, you know, the repairs of your own house?
My husband takes care of all that.
Oh, your husband does it all?
Yes, he does.
Your husband's very handy around. We were talking about him early. I heard he's very handy.
Yes, yes.
And so, got to do that. But what some people ask me, what can I do myself? Let's put it this way. What are you comfortable doing? Can you do things? I have people call you, excuse me, I have people call me sometimes on the weekends. And if you want to get someone's attention, call them on the weekends. They may not want to come out, so they're more than likely going to talk to you. You call us anytime, we'll talk to you. Because if there's something you could do to fix it, we're going to help you do it. Mm-hmm. The kid's been playing in the closet where the furnace is. He reaches up, he flips off a switch. You come home, it's hot. Your air conditioner's not working, or you come home and it's cold, the furnace isn't working. I will talk to you to go in and to check that out. If you don't feel comfortable doing it, I'll show up at your house and I'll charge you to come out there. But maybe all you need to do is flip a switch.
Yeah.
I think everyone should learn a little bit on their filters. You need to keep your filters changed. That's efficiency. What is efficiency at the bottom line? It's your money to do that.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have to sign up for a club or pay a monthly fee for you to be able to help them out over the phone?
No, you don't have to do anything to do that. I'll do that for free. I do have some ideas that can help you out. If you would like, we have an annual contract. We'll come out twice a year. We will take care of doing your fall check at this time of the year. We're going to make sure that furnace runs right. The biggest thing is carbon monoxide. That's one of the most dangerous things that can happen in your house. It's silent, it's deadly, and it has no odor. Everyone says it does, but pure carbon dioxide has no odor. Sometimes people say, well, I can have a smell. Yeah, you can have a little smell going on, but that may be products of combustion.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to recommend to everyone this season, if you have a gas furnace, it's time to buy a cheap carbon monoxide filter. And by that I mean inexpensive.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of them out there that'll do the job. You can put them in. If you don't know how to put them in, give us a call. We can come out.
I think people get confused about natural gas leaks because you can smell those, but not because natural gas has an odor, but they would actually put an additive in it.
Yeah, they add an odorant to the natural
Right.
gas. They do to propane too.
Yeah.
And that's to alert you, hey, you got a problem. So when you smell those things, it's time to call someone. There are certain things that I believe you definitely need to call your technicians for. Most of you guys don't have refrigerant licenses, so when you need air conditioning, give the expert the call. We'll come out there, we can take care of exactly what you've got going on. Sometimes most people can do it. I get involved sometimes when the do-it-yourselfer gets in trouble. And so we show up, we look at what they've got, and then we turn around and we repair it. There's always some jokes in our industry about people who feel like they could do much more than they can do.
Yeah, no, I can clean my filter.
Yes, you can clean your filter. And you may be able to take the screen off the faucet and let it run right.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
See, there's things you can do. Just do what you feel comfortable. If you want to ask and call, I go out and sometimes I will help people. They'll ask me to teach them how to do things. I don't mind. You pay me, I'll come out, we'll do that thing, I'll teach you. From then on, you can do it. I have a lady who's got 13 houses, 14 houses. She rents them. One day she said, Gary, show me how to put in an igniter. I said, sure. One day she said, show me how to do this clean and checks, clean the outside unit. I don't mind. She uses me for everything else, and I kind of help her out. You know, today we're going to be talking with Marilee Daugherity. Did I say it right this time?
You did.
And so we need to get closer to there. And Marilee Daugherity, she is our insurance lady, and she'll be here today. We'll be talking with her in just a few minutes about insurance and what she has to offer. One of our sponsors today, before we go to break here, is Rooney, McBride, and Smith. That's our lawyers. They're here on the first Thursday of the month. We speak to them. What's first Thursday, right?
First Thursday.
That's correct.
Rooney, McBride, and Smith.
Yeah, Rooney, McBride, and Smith. And they'll be sending a different lawyer from time to time. Their phone number is 417-708-9681. And so they do our full service. They do everything from estate planning to taking care of your tickets, and they can do bankruptcies and a lot of other things. So just listen in on the first Monday, but if you have any needs between there, go ahead and give them a call to do that. And so we'll take care of that. And one of our other sponsors is Dr. Michael Miller. He's with Family Back and Neck Care. Dr. Miller's normally on the second week of the month. He's planning to be on the last week of the month.
He's going to be on next week.
He'll be on next week. So why don't you listen to us next week, and he'll help you out. His phone number is 417-889-2225. And he's located down at 1440 East Republic Road. And so he's our chiropractor, but he also will be talking about nutrition. And I'm assuming we're going to be talking about next week with Mike, Dr. Miller.
Ketones.
Ketones. I'm sorry, it just slipped my mind. Ketones is what we'll be talking about. We'll be coming back in just a couple minutes here. We'll have a break. We'll be talking in just a few minutes with Marilee Daugherity with Clarity Insurance. Well, welcome back to It's Your Money Show. You're listening to it today. It's Your Money Radio, where you can make more money, you can save more money, and you can have more money for all of your financial goals. And you're back now with John Dietrich and Marilee Daugherity.
All right. And today, Marilee, you said we're going to talk about what happens if you get in an accident or something happens to your home.
Absolutely.
And
Yes,
you
we're going
need
to talk about claims.
What do you do? Right? What do you do?
Right,
That's
right.
what we're talking about today. So, what are we going to start with? Let's talk about if you're in a car accident. Okay, so first of all, do you call the police?
Absolutely. Yes, you want to make sure that you are calling the police and making a police report. I know there are some instances where, depending on where the accident happens, and I know in the past if there's been excessive road conditions with ice and snow, sometimes it is, the police are limited as to which accidents they can make it to. But you always do have an option of filing a police report online, or you can go into the police department at a different time after the accident and make sure that you have a report filed. So yes, you want to call the police, and yes, you want to make sure that you always have a police report filed.
Okay, so if they can't come out, they still would file a police report?
Yes, you always want to make sure you
Okay.
file a police report.
Just another question, follow-up is, do you move your vehicles after the accident?
You know, it just really depends on the situation. I mean, obviously you want to make sure that everyone is safe, and, you know, medical attention is primary over anything that is material, such as a vehicle. But, you know, making sure that you are out of the way of traffic and that sort of thing, or any additional damage that could happen, or any, you know, other accidents that could transpire because of your accident. You want to make sure that you get all that out of the way if you have to.
Okay. And the next question is about reporting the accident, because if I'm in an accident, do I report it to you whether it's my fault or not?
You know, that's a good question. You know, I like to tell my insurers and my clients that if you're not at fault in an accident and the other party has an insurance policy in place, we do like to make sure that those claims are filed with the other insurance company. And I always try and let people know that if for some reason that claim, they're not happy with it, or they're not understanding something that's going on in that process, then they can always reach out to me and we can further discuss what the options might be. There are times, on occasion, that we would need to bring in their policy for their coverages as well. So initially, I would recommend that they file the claim with the other party's insurance.
Right, so because it matters whose fault it is. If it's the other person's fault, we want to file with them. But in your case, you would work with, and I'm talking me because you're my insurance person.
Right, yes, I am.
Because
Yes.
you are such a great insurance person.
Thank you.
And so that's why I keep saying me, you know, as an example. But if it's not my fault, it's theirs, and they have insurance.
Yes,
So we want to file against their insurance.
that is correct.
But I can call you and you'll help make sure that they file.
Yes, and when you are calling your agent, whether it's me or somebody else, you want to make sure that, you know, they know that you're just calling in for advice, or you're calling in to ask for a question, maybe get some policy information. Some offices will actually just file a claim for you. We don't work like that, but there are
Okay.
some offices that will do that.
Right, so I'm not calling in to make a claim, I'm calling in
Yeah.
just to find out more information.
Exactly.
And sometimes if you're in an accident, and I won't say me, I don't get in car wrecks, you know that. But sometimes it's just a fender bender. I mean, it's just really nothing. And one thing I know, if somebody hits you in the rear end, you can't always see the damage.
Right.
But it might be nothing, and they might, you know, decide, I mean, just settle it in cash or something like that. You get their insurance information. But in those cases, should I make a claim?
Not necessarily, but that doesn't rule it out completely. If there are damages, especially if a vehicle is not moving, if you hit a vehicle that is parked and it's your fault, and damages are less than your deductible, then absolutely you would want to try and get, you know, that repaired on your own. Because if you do file a claim, your insurance company is not going to pay anything because it's less than your deductible, and therefore they will make a claim against your record that will stay on your record for 5 years with a zero payout. So that is always best to try and get that paid if it's underneath your deductible.
Right, because even if the insurance doesn't end up paying anything, it'll still be on your record if
Yes.
you make a claim.
For 5 years. Now, the other side to that story is if there's a possibility of having any sort of bodily injury liability claim. So you could have a fender bender, and it might be in less than your deductible, but if you have a person hurt, you know, neck injury, back injury, you know, you ran over someone's foot, you know, that type of thing, then absolutely you're going to want to make sure that your insurance company is aware that there is a possibility of a bodily injury liability claim, because they can come back after the damages for that type of claim.
Okay, and you don't necessarily know if you're hurt till the
Right.
next day. I mean,
Exactly.
sometimes you feel fine, adrenaline's pumping, you're excited, you know, nervous, whatever, you just got in an accident, so you're like, I'm fine. And I've been in that situation where I woke up the next morning and I'm stiff as a board and, you know, achy, and I go see a chiropractor, like Dr. Miller or somebody who can check me out.
Right.
And maybe there's nothing really wrong with me, I need a few treatments, but still even that is insured. It should be, if it's the other person's fault, they should pay for that, right?
Well, yes, and that just goes deeper into the claim process, but
Yeah.
yes. And if you are hurt in an accident, you always want to make sure that you're checked out, just to make sure.
So if I get in an accident and they're not hurt, they say they're not hurt, but they turn around and come back the next day and say, well, I changed my mind, I am hurt, then it's time to call Marilee.
Yes, call me, call your insurance company, say, hey, this is what happened, give them all the details and let them know.
Everybody in my family has your number on speed dial in case that happens. It's always a good idea, I think, I don't know, if you have an accident, and if you have somebody who's really friendly, like you, I feel comfortable that, you know, I can just call you and say, oh, I was just in an accident,
Yes.
I need your advice.
Oh, yeah, and that happens often.
And talk through it, because I know some of these things can be confusing over time.
And when you're in an accident, you're not really in your right frame of mind. I mean, it's things that happen, and I have insureds that call me. They'll say, I've been in an accident. I ask them where they're at, if they're okay. You know, do I need to call the police? You know, the policeman called. You know, and there are times where if I am close, I will get in the car and I'll go to the accident if I have to. You know, if it's close. But you know, people they don't really know what to do. I mean, even though you can think logically, this is what I need to do if I'm in an accident, but when it happens, it just goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and just to review the circumstances, should I or shouldn't I, it's good to have somebody you can call.
Absolutely.
And even if I file a claim, I mean, we don't like to file claims because it's going to be, you said it goes on our record even if it doesn't get paid out.
Yes.
And how does that impact me if I have a claim?
Well, and it's the same with any type of policy. Insurance companies follow a rule. It's basically frequency leads to severity. And so if you have several small claims, whether it's, you know, $68 paid out and, you know, $5 paid out, and it's the small claims, and then the insurance company has a rule of thumb where, okay, the big one's coming. So that's when you start to see people that have been non-renewed, canceled, or their rates are going up, because insurance is designed to take on the risk that you were not financially able to take on. So if you have a $500 or $1,000 deductible and then you're filing a claim for $68, I mean, it seems a little frivolous on the side of the insurance. So I've had $500,000 houses burned down, and the insurance company did not raise their rates because they had one claim, and it was legitimately something that they financially obviously could not take on themselves.
Yeah, so if you have an accident, I mean,
Right.
accidents happen.
Yep.
And especially if it's not your fault, don't be afraid to call your insurance company.
Right.
I mean, it won't automatically mean my rates are going to go up.
Absolutely not. No, it
That's
does not
good.
mean that. No.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and you know, there's lots and lots of factors that go into insurance, and so I mean, and if the rate does go up, then you always have that option to look at other carriers, or you know, there's lots of options out there. But you need to be aware of the rule of the frequency leads to severity, so you want to make sure that you're not claim happy. But if you do have one large accident or a couple large accidents, then you have a house fire and then you have an accident, then you know, those are things to look at. And having a good agent that knows your options and where to go in those types of cases is super important.
Yeah. So the insurance company just wants to know if you're had an accident or if you're careless. That sounds like is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're in an accident, all right, and it's a big accident, and you're out of a car.
Yes.
Okay. If it's not your fault, can I expect a rental car?
No. Back in the day, 10 years ago, I would say yes, but the industry standards change, and that's part of my responsibility as being an agent, is to keep up with the trends and what's happening. So if you're in an accident and you're not at fault, and the other person's at fault, typically you would think that that other insurance company would and should provide you with a rental car, and normally they do, but not immediately. So a lot of the times the other insurance company, they want to verify who's at fault, which means they have to speak with all the people that were involved, all the witnesses, and they also have to get a copy of the police report. And sometimes in the smaller towns, the police reports can take some time to get. And while you're waiting for that process for the insurance company to review all the information, get the police report, and determine whether or not their client is at fault indeed, you are most of the time without a car. So what I recommend is having my clients have car rental on their own policy. So
Okay.
it doesn't matter if they're at fault or the other person's at fault. If you're in an accident, we're going to get you in the car, a car the same day. So you're not losing, time getting back and forth to work, transporting your children around, doctor's appointments, that sort of thing. You're not missing a beat. It doesn't matter who's at fault. We'll still get you in a car.
Okay, well, I'm thinking if I just want to rent a car though, and it's not my fault, I might get reimbursed. Is that what you're saying? Or I might not? Is that?
No, that's not what I'm saying. So it's not necessarily that you would rent the car. Your insurance policy would make arrangements for you to go and pick up a car. So
Okay.
it would be covered under your policy, and then your insurance company will work with the at-fault
Okay.
companies to get the money back.
So you want to make sure that you're covered with your insurance.
Yes.
So if you're in an accident, no matter whose fault it is, you can get a rental car.
Yeah, and it's super inexpensive. I mean, it's anywhere from $6 to $8 to $12. I mean, it's really, really inexpensive. So, and that's, I think, for 6 months to a year to have that on your policy, just to make sure that you'll have a car in the event of an accident.
Okay, so if you're out there listening and you are not sure what your insurance coverage is, you can always ask Marilee.
Yes, and they can always reach me at 417-887-6261 extension 12. My email is marilee@goclarity.com, and that's MARILEE@goclarity.com.
And it's okay if they want to call and ask you a question while we're on the air?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, and our number is 862, area code 417-862-9977 if you want to call and ask an insurance question, or 1-800-375-0056.
Yes.
Okay, so how are we doing on time, Gary?
Well, right now we're going to talk about Gayla Scribner for just a minute before we go to break at 3:39 here. And we'll do that. This is Scribner Solutions. Gayla Scribner, her and her team of virtual assistants can help you out. She works with our show. She does a lot of other things for a lot of different companies. If you need anything done, just give her a call.
So yeah, she works on our Facebook. We're on Facebook Live. If you're on Facebook, you want to find us at Your Money Radio. The @ Your Money Radio is how you can find our Facebook, and you can like that. She works on that, does all of the announcements when we have guests like Marilee on. She does handles all of that. So there's a great variety of things she can help with. She also helped get some very cost-effective business cards. She's got some
She's really good.
connections.
She's done our cards for years.
Yeah.
And she can do that. And she can do your social media too.
Mm-hmm.
She's got it. And with her virtual assistants group, you're not just getting her, you're getting a lot of other professionals.
Right.
They can help do what you need done.
Well, I think she told me that she doesn't even do her own website, but somebody on her team does the website, her website. What's do you have her web address?
Yeah. Her web address is scrivenersolutions.com. And if you go to scrivenersolutions.com, I believe you can find a downloadable 5 things you must know before you hire a virtual assistant. It's a free download and you can get that.
So if you're a small business, overworked, and you need some help with your marketing or anything else, you just call Gayla or look on her website
Yes.
and download that 5 things you need to know. And it's very reasonable. She does a very good job. I know that when she's working for me, she doesn't need a lot of supervision, and that's key. People aren't really helping you out if you need to look over their shoulder all the time. But she'll take initiative. She'll get the project done. She needs very little supervision. Just give her some guidance, and she'll get the job done.
Oh yeah, definitely. And sometimes her suggestions go far beyond what you thought at first. She could really help you out. So
Yes, because she knows what she's doing better than you know.
that's why you're here, and you got experts like you and Marilee today. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Thank you. Well, you're listening to It's Your Money radio show, where you can make more money, save more money, and have more money for all your financial goals. Welcome back. John, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing good.
And we've been talking with Marilee today, and
Yes.
so I know that...
Are you afraid to even try to say her last name now?
It is Marilee Daugherity, and I'm going to apologize to everyone out there. Her last name is Daugherty, and so I don't think I'll ever forget that.
I don't
Marilee.
think you will either.
And if he does, we're going to need a new co-host.
Put in your applications today.
So when we left off, we were talking about car accidents and whether we should file a claim or not. I think we got that pretty clear. But let's go to the next step. Okay,
Yeah.
now I need my car fixed.
Yes.
I'm always concerned about the quality of the repairs that are going to be done to my car.
Absolutely.
So, do insurance companies put subpar parts into your car when they do? I mean, they don't do the repairs, obviously, but when they decide how much to pay for your accident, how does that work?
So basically, when you're in an accident and those parts in your car at that moment are used parts. So the insurance company is going to give you a estimate based on a replacement, almost new part. So they're not going to go out and buy brand spanking new parts on a vehicle that had used parts. So insurance is designed to bring you back to where you were and not exceed where you were prior to the accident. So they want to make sure they're putting you back the way you were. And then that means that they're going to go out and they're going to buy you, they're going to give you an estimate. And now, of course, if those parts are not available in a used status, and their only option is for them to buy new, then they will make that, they'll make that exception. And then sometimes if it's cheaper to buy new than used, then they will also make that exception as well.
Well, and that just really makes sense if you think about it. You don't want to make a profit from getting in an accident.
Yeah.
You get an estimate, you need a new engine and transmission for your car. Well, I'll just get in a car accident and let the insurance company buy me a new engine
Yeah,
and transmission.
doesn't really work like that.
No, so we don't want to. They don't want to get you out better than you were before. So they'll get you. You might get used, but you're not going. They'll be what would you call that? Slightly used.
Yeah, slightly, almost new.
Marilee, I've heard a lot of people, that's the first time I've ever really thought, yeah, if I have a wreck, my parts on my car are slightly used or have been used, especially if it's an older vehicle.
Right, exactly.
Well, and they're usually, like, I know my daughter needed a new engine, and they're going to be remanufactured. They're not going to be just out of a junkyard. No,
they do go and make sure that the parts are, of course, working and that sort of thing. Now, some things they can pull out of the junkyard. If it's a used mirror or that sort of thing on a vehicle that maybe had some other damage to it, and then the mirror was still good, then they could make that purchase. But on functioning items, that are going to be a safety issue, your engine, transmission, those types of things, they're going to make sure they're all in good certified working order before they,
Okay, so they'll put you back at least to where you were before the accident. That's their
Exactly.
responsibility.
That is what insurance is designed to do. Yes.
Not make a profit.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think that's pretty reasonable.
And another thing that people are concerned about is the fact that they want to make sure that they can go somewhere that they like and trust. And insurance companies don't make you go to any specific shop to have the work done. Everyone has their recommendations. I have a couple that I've used over the years, and I've been very happy with them. They've done personal work for me, so I know how they would treat my clients. And then, of course, the insurance company has their list of preferred shops that they use, and of course, that work can be, depending on what shop it is and what insurance company you have, can have more of a guarantee or warranty on that work. But of course, the ultimate decision is up to the policy holder. They can always decide who does their work and where it's done at.
Yeah, but hopefully you don't have a whole lot of experience in getting your car repaired, so you want to know somebody that you can trust for advice on that.
Right, exactly.
And your insurance company is usually somebody you can trust for those recommendations.
Yes.
Last time you were on the show, I made a mistake. and I admit it freely and on the air for the world to see, but because, I mean, I've lived here for 22 years, but I'm from Illinois, and I think at the time I lived there, it was a no-fault state.
Right.
And I didn't know what the laws were in Missouri. And could you explain that to everybody?
Yeah, when you had mentioned that last time, I wasn't familiar with the no fault, but I was able to, I did some research, and it's called a comparative fault, and it was adopted in 1983 into Missouri law. Basically, it allows the insurance companies to allow time to investigate the accident and make a decision of the percentage at fault. So a good example of that is the worst place to get into an accident is in a parking lot. So if you're getting in a parking lot and you're both backing up, that's a perfect example of usually it's going to be 50-50%. They're 50% each at fault for the accident. But it does give the insurance companies time to determine if either person involved in the accident, if there's multiple, then multiple, their percentage of fault in the accident.
Okay. Now, is it true that you're kind of at fault every time you get behind the wheel of the car?
I don't know if I go as far as saying that. I'm not sure.
I mean, if I stay home in my living room, I'm not going to get in a car accident.
Yeah, but you know, I think every situation is different.
Okay,
But
so it can be 100% somebody else's.
absolutely, there are
Yeah,
cases.
yeah,
Yes.
I was actually in an accident like that. I'm not sure if you were my agent back then, but I think I remember calling my agent. I bought a brand new car. I drove it less than 2 hours, and that was you. You remember that? It's like, I don't even know if I called you to tell you I bought a new car yet. By the way, I bought a new car and I got in a car accident, but it was not my fault.
Right. I think they rear-end you.
No, they T-boned me.
Oh, yeah.
It was on Glenstone by the Plaza Shopping Center. If you're driving north on Glenstone, they can actually turn left into the Plaza Shopping Center. It's like 4 lanes. There's a left-hand turn lane, 2 lanes, and a right-hand turn lane. And I was in the right-hand turn lane, and the other 3 lanes were like, yeah, go ahead. And she didn't see me, and I pulled out, and she was going for that parking that shopping center. Totally out of the blue. But in that case, I could be, I'll just say could. 100% not at fault, and that's going to not be as bad a claim as something that is. Right?
That is correct. When they do the percentages, so if someone's found 30% at fault and the other person's 70% at fault, as an example, then the person that had 30%, their insurance company would pay, 30% of the damages, and the other company would pay the other portion. So.
So does that ding your insurance, just like if you had, we were
Okay.
talking about, yeah. Okay, that's,
They're only at 30%.
that was kind of my question, but I got a feeling it's a ding.
It's still a ding. Yeah, it's still a ding.
If I can use that, that may not be the right word, it seems like that. So.
Yeah, it's still a claim, yes.
Well, the last accident I got in, and I hear stories all the time. We have a few uninsured motorists in Missouri, don't we? In this
yes.
part of town, I think. And last person that hit me was uninsured. What do you do?
Well,
I don't know if I did the right thing or not. What do you do?
Uninsured motorist is pretty near to me because, in 2000 I was hit by an uninsured driver, and that's kind of what has spiraled me into the insurance industry. So that in itself, I ended up having to make a claim against my own policy for uninsured motorists to help pay for my damages. So super important. When you are in an accident with an uninsured driver, you want to make sure that you do contact the Missouri Department of Revenue Driver's License Bureau and make sure that you let them know that you were hit by an uninsured driver. They will also enforce the mandatory liability law within the state of Missouri. They'll do an investigation and, if necessary, enforce the statute. Of course, at this time, you'd also want to contact your own insurance company and make a claim against your uninsured or underinsured motorist and make sure that that claim is filed. Another thing is you always want to make sure that those limits for your uninsured motorist match your liability limits. So if there's limits on your policy that don't match, and if you don't know what that means, contact your agent or you can call me. You want to make sure that those are they're matching with your liability limits.
Okay, a couple things you said that I'd like to get clarification on. Financial, mandatory liability, what does that mean?
In the state of Missouri, you are required to have a minimum liability limit to cover other vehicles or accidents, bodily injury, that sort of thing if you're driving a car. So those minimum standards are 25, 50, 10. $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident, and $10,000 of property damage.
Okay, so that's the amount of insurance everybody has to have.
Right.
If you are driving a car, you need that amount of insurance on yourself.
Absolutely, and insurance is following the car, so the insurance needs to be on the car. That's why when you go to get your vehicle licensed or you go to have get your tags renewed, that's why they ask you for your insurance information, because it is a state law that you do carry the minimum policy limits.
Okay, good idea. We talked a little bit about having the repair work done, but you also do, we're talking about auto insurance, you also do homeowners insurance. I just wanted to clarify, if you have a homeowner's claim or an auto insurance claim, can the insurance company tell you who to get the call to do the work?
No. With a homeowner's insurance claim, they can't tell you who to have the work done by, but they do like to make sure the work is completed. Especially when you have a water claim, that sort of thing, they want to make sure that you called in the professionals to make sure that there's no mold, all of the precautions and all that, everything has been cleaned up and dried, and any extra areas that may have been concerned that you cut out the extra drywall and replaced it, and carpet and padding and all that stuff. They are going to want to see receipts and invoices to make sure that has been cleaned up. Just because if it hasn't been, then you can have a future mold issue.
Well, absolutely. I was in the disaster restoration business once in
Oh.
a previous life.
In a previous life, before your financial planning?
Before I was a financial advisor, yeah. So I'm aware of a lot of problems, but not just that, but consecutive claims. Like if I call up my insurance and I say I need a new roof, and they just write me a check, I may need a new roof again next year. If I didn't actually do the work.
Right. Well, that's another big deal because Missouri is in the top 5 for wind in the country, and we are very fortunate that our insurance companies are very good with our roofs. There are some neighboring states where there are actually provisions in the policy that only allow their insureds to get a new roof once every maybe 5-7 years.
Really?
Or they would be responsible to take on some of the extra expenses in replacing that roof. So one of the most recent things or changes within a homeowner's policy that's happened over the past 3 to 5 years is a percentage deductible for wind hail. So when you have your policy renewals come out, it might be 1% or 2% of your dwelling cost would be your wind hail deductible, and that's kind of help offset the expenses for the roofs that we're having to replace. But and a lot of people don't understand that, but and that happens at renewal. So if you haven't checked your policies, you might want to check your policies and make sure that the $1,000 deductible you thought you had before maybe isn't exactly what it is anymore.
Would you check my policy for me? My policy?
Yes, I'll check your policy for you. I'm pretty sure you're good.
And that's because here in this state, you're liable to put a roof on. 2 years later, you might have another roof. I mean,
Yes.
because you could get hit with hail. I've seen that.
Absolutely. And insurance companies, a lot of them run in the red on the homeowner side of the business. And anybody in business knows that you can only run a business in the red for so long before you have to, stop shop and do something else. So, like I said, we're very lucky in our state and the insurers that we do have and the policies they do provide us, because other neighboring states that we have, they have policies where they're not as fortunate with their deductibles.
Right. And if you're listening, Marilee is really in real life, she's my insurance person. She takes care of my home, auto, insurance, any other insurance needs I have, umbrella liability and other things as well. So I do recommend her, and if you, when's the best time to call you for a if they want to see if you can save them money?
Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, is they can call the office. If I'm not available, just leave a message and I will always get back to them. So that number again is 417-887-6261, extension 12. And they can always reach me at my email, which is marilee@goclarity.com.
Well, thank you. It's a very informative show today. I appreciate all of your great information.
Oh, yeah. Other than messing up your name, thank you so much to do that. And you don't mind if I bring my insurance policy by, just have you do a review, right?
Absolutely not. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Okay, that's well.
I'm going to misspell your name on purpose.
That, please do. That's everyone else does. And then I'll need to claim and it won't happen.
Right.
So to do that, for that. Who we got coming next week, John? Don't we have Dr. Michael Miller will be on next week? So you guys listen in next week. Next time, Marilee will be here on the third Thursday of each month. Start thinking of some questions for her. She'd love to answer them. I've got questions I want to ask her about how all this money they're going to spend in Florida, Texas is going to affect our insurances.
That's a very good question.
Yeah, you may not have all the answers, but I certainly would love to know that. So.
Well, I'd like to thank all of my sponsors real quickly. Thank you, Marilee, for your sponsorship and for being on the show. And
Kayla Scribner with Scribner Solutions, Dr. Michael Miller, and A&D Mechanical Services. And
Winnie McBride and Smith.
There you go. Thank you. I was just going to get to them. So to do that, if you're out there today, you have a wonderful afternoon. If you want to save some money, you give some of these experts a call. They can definitely help you out. I have been really pleased by what I've learned.
And I didn't give my phone number today, but it's 417-763-3345 if you want to call me for financial advice.
I
wouldn't have a show without these guys.
Well, that's to do that.
Well,
I never thought about cars, and I mean,
It'd be a whole different show.
you know, I've had insurance for 45 years. I never thought about used parts on a vehicle from that standpoint. You always think about, well,
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of information about insurance, you know?
yeah, I know, that's exciting. Yeah, I would have asked you today, but I didn't want to cut in about how all this money is going to get spent. Is that going to affect us?
Well, it depends on per carrier. I mean, it really does. So if you have a carrier that has a big stake in those states, yeah, you're going to get hit.
That's
You're
what
gonna
I
get hit
thought.
hard.
A lot of it isn't the flood a national insurance program?
Well, it depends. That's a very good question.
I thought we have to get national flood insurance if you're in a flood.
Right, and it's like 30 days.
But is that zone, or do they lump everyone into like a flat rate?
Legendary calls
By zoning, you know, is it California has floods and they have floods here in the east coast of North Carolina, or is that pretty much a subsidized standard insurance?
It's a lot more intense than that, so they break it up into flood zones.
Okay.
So based on your address and
Thank you, Ken.
Also,
Thanks for joining the show. Barbara Moore Tarp. Is that somebody's mom?
that's my mother.
Your
Hi,
mom was
Mom.
listening, and Ken, and yeah, thank you.
So